Hello. Guess you've all seen this view from your reversing camera. Blurry vision, not quite sure what's behind you, and at night it's even worse. So the screen washer kit, purchased from eBay for around $30 US, £30 UK, you end up with quite a good rear screen washing system that gives you all you want. The kit in the picture is what I purchased off eBay, and this was around about $15. You're also going to need from eBay a screen wash one-way valve to stop the fluid draining back to the tank or siphoning out. Okay, electrical bits. You're going to need a ring terminal that an M6 drill will pass through for your earthing terminal. Pair of straight connectors for the cable from the washer pump out to the power and ground. Some crimps to crimp these up with. Don't use pliers, it doesn't make a proper job of it. At the other end, at the switch end at the front, if you're going to put a plug and socket in, then some form of plug and socket and the right sort of crimps for it. Fuses. For the Renault, it's the Micro 2 type, and if you look, there's several different types. It's this one with the long prongs on it, not the ordinary Micro. If you're going to go down the route of a glass fuse, then you've got to modify some form of terminal that pushes in the live half of the fuse board. I recommend using this type. It's safer, simpler, better. Tools. This lot is pretty obvious. You're going to need a pilot drill, around about 3mm. Some step drills, if you can get hold of them, makes nice neat holes in plastic, covering the range 4 to 14mm. Cordless drill or a mains drill, pair of pliers, cross point screwdriver, Torx T20 screwdriver, scissors, soldering iron, corded solder, and the bent bit is heat shrink tube. Obviously a hot air gun for your heat shrink tube. If you've got access to a right angle drill covering the range 5.5 to 4mm, then you're laughing. That's the best bit. Other than that, you're going to have to struggle. And a few other bits that you need.
And washer,
an
M8 spanner for the nuts on the underside of the bottom tray where you're going to gain access. M10 spanner to tighten this nut up with when you do the earth terminal for the washer pump. And if you're doing the job on your own, something to hold the nuts while you screw up the screws that hold the tank bracket in place in the storage tray.
The installation when it's completed should look something like this, with the tank sat on the floor of the storage tray under the boot floor and the wiring all nice and neat out of the way. Once you've got all your bits from eBay, assemble it on the bench, put some water in it, connect it up to a 12-volt battery or battery charger and test it. Make sure it all works properly. Don't get too wet. The purchased mounting bracket on the left has been re-drilled, as you can see, with 2 additional holes. This suits my way of mounting it better. The brown piece on the right is a tapered wedge because the internal section of the storage bay is sloping, so you've got to get it to sit right for the tank to sit vertically. This is a sketch of roughly what you want. Because I had no information, I had to remove the bottom panel of the car to check what was behind the number plate area. And the impact pad or crash bar runs across the back of the car, and the washer jet can go no lower than 120 millimeters from the underside of the number plate mounting area. You can mount your washer jet basically anywhere in the purple box, which is roughly between the two number plate lights. There's plenty of clearance behind that for the pipes and tubes. Anything below 120 millimeter and you're going to hit the impact pad and you're not going to be able to gain access to the tubing. So when you've decided on the location for your washer jet, bearing in mind it doesn't have to be directly under the camera. As you can see, mine's slightly offset, so it misses two of the letters on my registration number. Drill straight through the number plate and into the body of the car, as in the picture. Next, you're going to enlarge the hole in the back of the car, which is now enlarge the hole that's in the back panel of the car and behind the number plate location. Enlarge it to about 14 millimeter. This is so that the nut and pipe on the number plate will fit through the hole and the number plate will align with the back of the car, so it's all nice, neat and flush. So with the pipe fitted to the rear of the washer jet not too tight so you can just move it to assist your aim, replace your number plate and threading all the tube that's come in the kit, thread it back down the inside of the car. You'll fish it out from the bottom later. This is the bottom tray removed. I removed it so I could see what was up behind there, so I didn't actually drill holes through the wrong things. However, the M8 hex nuts, the 4 on the forward side of the plate, if you just remove those, you should be able to spring the panel down and get your hand up to pull the pipe through, drilling the hole through the inside near the back of the washer tank for your piping. I took the whole thing out, and to be honest, it was a bit of a nightmare getting it back to fit correctly, because there's a cable runs across the back and there's also a C support clamp that you've got to get to realign so that the whole thing fits together okay. So if you can get at it by just taking the 4 hex screws out, then that's fine. Other than that, take the whole thing off and just have a little bit of a fight with it putting it back together. As I say, it comes off easy enough. This is a view looking up from underneath the car. The section at the bottom of the picture is the underside of the storage bin in the boot and the front end of the car. As you can see, the steel impact pad is above and the pipe for the washer jet just threads over the top of the impact pad. Okay, so mounting the tank. This view is looking towards the back of the car with the bracket fitted. Fit the bracket to the tank, sit the tank on the floor of the luggage compartment, check your fitment of the wedge to make sure it fits right and holds the thing upright, drill the holes and attach the bracket and wedge to the rear of the car. Use masking tape and a pencil to stick it to the back of the luggage tray and mark out for your bracket. A bit of a faffing about thing this, but you have to get the screws in the right position. I use nuts and bolts, but looking at the thickness of the luggage tray storage bin, you'd be well advised to use heavy duty self-tapping screws direct into the plastic and not have the hassle of getting your hand up the back to get the nuts on to secure the bracket, but the choice is yours. The tube supplied in the kit is 6mm. and you have to cut a long lead on this to thread it through from the back. Don't shorten the overall length yet. Get your hand up into the back compartment and thread it through your hole that you've drilled. Drill the hole slightly undersized so it's a tight fit for no water leaks. Okay, so pull the tube through into the boot area, leaving about a foot, 300mm behind the tray and the number plate, so you can get the number plate off without difficulty. Cut it to length, fit your one-way valve in position, that's with the arrow going out towards the washer jet. Attach it to the tank, and hey presto, you've got a relatively finished job. Now's the fun time. Get yourself a battery, car battery or battery charger, and temporarily connect 2 pieces of wire to the plug on the washer pump and start having a go at aligning the jets. You're going to get wet at this, so and use quite a bit of water, so don't fill it up with washer fluid yet, just clean water, and do the job outside of aiming the jets. The jets consist of 2 balls pressed into the plastic housing of the washer jet assembly, and you aim them by using a thick needle about 1mm into the hole of the jet and just articulating the jet. Then try it, give it a squirt, see where it goes, realign it again. You've got to do this for both jets, so you'll be having fun, and this is where you get a lot of water out and you usually get wet. Okay, so you've dried off, you've got your washer jet squirting nice and happily at the actual camera lens, and all looks good on the back of the car. So the next job is to wire it up to your switch, which is relatively straightforward. So here we go. Okay, here we go. You're looking at the towing eye and compressor storage area, which is on the left hand side of the boot in the pull down box area. You're using your wire from the black wire on the pump washer, which is the ground, and you're attaching it behind the bracket for some device with your M6 nut. Don't start undoing anything, just put the terminal and wire behind the device, fingertips, spin the nut on, tighten it up. That's your ground terminal completed. Thread this through back towards your pump. Obviously mine's shown over the top of the carpet, it should be underneath. So once you've threaded the wire underneath the trim, out of sight and round to your pump, make the terminal with a approved electrical terminal. Crimp them together, and as I said, that's your earth terminal done. We'll move on to the power side next. So depending whether your car is left or right hand drive, this one's right hand drive, start threading your cable towards the steering wheel for the switch. The cable pull through is threaded down the side of the latch mechanism, which is a spring off plastic fitting on the inside of the rear passenger door. Thread it down the side of that out through the little square access panel in the boot floor area. This is the only pull through that you're going to have to do. Just tape the cable to it and pull your wire back through and continue threading as in the next pictures. Pull back the door weather seal with your fingertips and start threading the wire round the side of the door frame down into the footwell. Once you've threaded the cable behind the rubber trim down into the rear passenger footwell, thread the cable under the plastic trim. Bit of a faff, but it's doable. Just poke it under and then continue threading the cable and tucking it under the side of the plastic trim all the way forward up the A-post towards the steering wheel. On the right-hand drive variant of this car, the access to the fuse board is behind a pull-down panel by the right-hand driver's knee. On the left-hand drive, your fuse board is located inside the back of the glove box, so I'll leave you to have a look at that. Again, on the right-hand drive model, this pull-down panel accessing the glove box is the ideal location for the switch. Nice and simple and easy to get at by the driver's knee. The cabin fuse board. Arrowed is the blue 15 amp fuse, which is for the cabin accessory socket down the center console. This is the one you're going to piggyback off. Or if you're going to take a direct terminal off, it's the tiny copper spade connector to the left of this one. These are both switched lives. You must use a 3 or maximum 5 amp fuse only. So having run your cable up from the washer pump up to your switch terminal, the other side of the switch terminal to your fuse, and then into the fuse board, you should have a working unit. Give it a try. Obviously, left-hand drive cars, you're going to have to find an appropriate location for your switch. Don't interfere with anything else. You can now put your storage area back as it should be, as in the picture, all nice and neat, no space taken up, and try your pump out. If you have problems with bubbles on the pump from the washer fluid, try 5 ml of dishwasher rinse aid mixed in with the solution. It cuts down on the froth. Worth a try. And if you've got this far, thanks for watching. This has been more difficult than the actual installation. Bye.